it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.
Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie Podcast. I'm Charlie Perry, and my fabulous guest, author of All Is Now Lost, Laura Elizabeth. This is the second time we've done a podcast, and I am so happy. In fact, I like you to come on anytime you're doing something, please.
Thank you. It's so much fun to be here.
Yeah, your book is amazing. I'm doing quite a few books, reading them at the same time. And it's tough when you have a lot of authors coming on the podcast and you promise to read their books. So you gotta, I definitely want to read them. I want to post some reviews. I want to do all the good things. So, let's see.
Really helpful for an author for you to post a review. It's really a very nice thing to do.
Yes, I know that feeling. When I'm writing my books, I'm always looking at the reviews.
Yeah.
Just so it can prepare me for my next book, because I'm going to continue to write until the day I die. So this is this is book one for you.
Yes.
As you all can see, this book, it's very, I like everything, the whole design of it, the artwork. It was good. The title was very captivating for me. I really, it just kind of glued me in. And also all the praises that you got from our mutual friends.
Yes.
So, Laura, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on the screen by yourself while I get some water. And I just want you to talk about what inspired you of the book initially, and then I'll come right back on the screen. Okay?
Sure.
All
Great.
right.
Yep. So All Is Now Lost is a mystery, and it's set on an island off the coast of Hilton Head, South Carolina. The island in real life is called Defusky Island. In my story, I've renamed it to be called Mongin Island. But what inspired me to write this mystery is I fell in love with this island many years ago, almost 20 years ago, when we stumbled upon it on a spur of the moment vacation that we took. And we weren't actually supposed to be traveling there. We were supposed to be going to the Grand Canyon, but someone was supposed to be watching our dogs and wasn't able to at the last minute. And so we Googled where to go to, and we found Defusky Island. We went on a trip there, and it was very transformational for me and for my family. We ended up buying property there and have been just vacationing there for many, many years, many times. We've fallen in love with the island and the people who live there and the community aspect of the island. And I wanted to write a book that honored all of the things that were important to me and to my family.
Awesome. And knowing that story from we had our last podcast.
Yep.
So as I kind of dip into the book and kind of getting ready, and I'm like, I said, this is sounds so familiar, but it was you definitely have to give this book to someone. This is definitely a short movie type. I think it is. I think it's it's something that you should grab an agent and try to introduce it to many of the different, Netflix or whatever, because I see it. The visions, the captivation, everything is just right there. So as someone's producing or directing it, they will definitely have a clear cut image and vision of it. I mean, who knows? You talked about, movies and different scenes that
Mhm.
come from the island.
Yeah.
And so who knows? They may be very familiar with it.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. There have been a few people who have said, "Oh, I can see this being a series on Netflix or Hulu," and that would just be incredible to me because that has been my mission. It's so important to me, this island, and what I found by going there. Like I found part of myself there that I hadn't ever felt like I had been home before, and it lived in a lot of places and moved around a bit. And I just never felt that connection like I felt within the first few minutes of being on this island. And it's so important to me that others either fall in love with this island or find their ability to find their home. I know in like a lot of uncertainty, the world seems kind of imbalanced. The thing that grounds us is finding home wherever that is. And so for me, it's this place, but for others, it might be something else. But leaning into those decisions that lead you to finding your home.
Exactly. It's like there's a few places that really get to me and give me that sense of home. One is my hometown, and the other is Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
Oh yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, so I really feel comfortable there. I mean, I lived in LA a little while, but that wasn't home to me.
Yeah.
Seemed like I was just passing through.
Yep.
You
I've
know,
lived in a few places like that myself, that you do it, you pass the years, but it's not like you haven't developed the roots,
hmm
of what grounds you to the place and connects you to the place, the people, the sights, the smells. It's all like all of your senses are alive in a place that is home to you.
so true. The I'm just trying to change the audience in Facebook, um, so it goes public. The Yeah, and anyone that's listening to us right now, look, you can go to YouTube, go to Really Charlie, and this podcast is live right now. I also have it on LinkedIn, um, and also on my Facebook profile. Laura doesn't have Facebook, but
No.
I will share the link with you. And then later on, when we're done, we're going to actually put this on Spotify also. So you will be able to listen to it on Spotify when you're kind of driving around and just put Spotify on or at home and
So
just listen. Yeah,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's great to be in a lot of different places. And once you have that link, I'll post it on my website and on Instagram. And it's really fun to see where these podcasts kind of reach people at different times. It's fun.
exactly. Um, all right, let's see. Let's get into. Oh, and by the way, the website, Laura's website, is right in front of us, and feel free to go onto that website. And I also want to let's make this announcement right now. If you join, let's see. I got it on the bottom. I'm going to read that real quick. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of prednisone trying to get rid of this cough. This is a book of good giveaway for
Yeah.
the audience, and also the website's on the bottom line there. Please sign up go to the website and sign up for the newsletter. Um, the book will be signed and mailed to you by Laura. So please, during your time that I'm going to leave the website up, go to that website, which is also in the comments section. You can click on it and just go directly to the website. Sign up for the email,
Yeah.
the newsletter rather, and
Yeah.
then
So what we're doing for the book giveaway is if someone goes to Amazon and takes a screenshot of them being on my Amazon page of the book, it could be the Kindle, the hardcover, or the paperback, and they email me a copy of their screenshot you can either go through my website or to my email, which is theislandmysteries@gmail.com. And we're going to enter all of the readers who participate into a raffle, and I will send them a signed copy of my book, the winner. If you go to Amazon and you actually buy the book from there, then and send me a screenshot of your order without any of your personal information besides your name and address, then that gets in for multiple entries. So everyone's eligible, but just by going to the website. But we are going to increase the number of entries for people who actually purchase the book, and I will sign it and email it to you along with a gift from the island. And so we're going to be running that promotion for right through to November 7th. So
awesome. I love it.
Time for a holiday gift.
So very nice. And it's a great gift. All right. Let's start off with this question here. Who are the characters in All Is Now Lost?
So that's a great question. So there are several main characters in All Is Now Lost. The protagonist, her name is Carr Jepson, and Carr leaves her home in Atlanta after her husband unexpectedly passes away. So that's not a spoiler. That's something that just happens pretty close to the beginning of the book. And she moves to Mongin Island, where she and her husband had a second home, and she decides to start her life over again on the island. So she ends up purchasing a bookstore, and she finds herself in the role of amateur sleuth. So she's the star of the show, but she cannot do this work alone. So she has her two friends. One is Barb and the other is Trip, and Trip works in the bookstore with her. Barb is an island resident, but each in their own way. They not only help her solve the mystery, but they also help her begin her life over again, which is an important part of this book. It's not just the mystery. It's about starting your life over when you felt like you already knew how to do your life. She's in her middle age, and she finds herself in circumstances that are completely new and yet very familiar. So she has to kind of build her community with the help of these friends and start her life again. So those are the main characters, and they will be with us through the series. But there's also a couple of others. We have Miss Lucy, who is a native of the island, and she has generationally lived on the island along with many of her ancestors. And she's somebody who just is not very interested in what's gone on the mainland. She's only really interested in what her people on the island are doing. So she's the island baker, and Miss Lucy is kind of the glue that keeps people together. But there are also some others that we meet. We do meet a bookstore dog named Buddy, and he's a companion. And then we also have a little boy named Jacob who appears in the story. And people have asked me, why is Jacob in there? He's a child and everyone else is the adult, and what's his role? And Jacob serves as a way to kind of soften Carr and keep her grounded into, the community and serving the community. And she recognizes that she has a love of the island and the love of reading and the love of giving. And Jacob helps her recognize those things. So those are the core group of characters, and we will meet them in some of the upcoming editions as well.
Very nice. And mentioning those names, the just want to say that chapter 1 was perfectly written. All right. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the visual is, and maybe I got a little head start than most readers, but today I came in kind of just not, just blocking out everything. And so as I'm reading the visual, everything, it was just like it was clicking. It was so, and I was in a quiet space, so that which made it so much better. And I highly recommend that you go into a quiet space. And most readers do that. And if they're not doing it, I think they're kind of giving themselves a misjustice. You got to sit in that quiet place. So and I like the fact that because I always had a visual of having a reading room, a store where people can just kind of sit in and chill out and listen, uh, either listen to an audible or read a book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's something that I always wanted to do.
Yeah. We laugh a lot because we travel to this island, and my husband and I both went to a college that is very entrepreneurial. We're both graduates of Babson College, and so every time we go to the island, I'm always coming up with a new idea for a business. And in my mind, I've had like 100 businesses on the island, but in the reality, I've had no businesses on the island. But, the one that I've always wanted to do was, I have had two, but one is a bookstore. And so it's the bookstore in my mind now appears in the pages of All Is Now Lost. But the framework, the actual physical building that I wanted to put it into is the same building that when I gave up on the bookstore idea, I went to a penny candy store. And so it's that building actually on the outside exists on the island, but on the inside would be how I would imagine it to be if I had the perfect place for a business that would make people feel welcomed and invited. And it wouldn't matter, I mean, it would be such a blessing to be running a business where it really wouldn't matter if people were, buying things or not, but it was about, spending time together. So it would be that people could come in and, just spend time together and, just enjoy being present in the moment.
Exactly. The we talked about who is your book's audience, and what are the expectations that you want from your readers. And so I get the question right down, the two questions down there.
Yeah. The book audience is, generally speaking, the book is really appropriate for any age. I do get sometimes when I'm at events, people will say, is this a good book for a young adult reader? There's nothing in the book that would preclude. I always tell parents, like, there's nothing you'd need to explain to a child. It's for any age. But I think the target audience would really be people who are probably 35 to maybe 70-ish, where they can understand having significant relationships and what that cost is when that relationship has ended for whatever reason, death in this case, but where you separate from your partner and what that loss is, and that pain of having to figure out who you are as an individual, and not as a part of something else. So whether you're separated from a career or a relationship, somebody who has that maturity to know how expensive emotionally that is for someone to do. So, that would probably ring true. And also to have the wisdom to understand, what some life experiences. So that's really what the target is. And what do I expect from readers? It's really to just imagine being in a place that you feel that you're home in and that you want to become a part of a community? What would you do to be part of it? Would you solve a mystery? Would you, try your hand at something that you have no skill at just because you feel it's the right thing for you to do? Would you step forward if your community needed you? So imagine what that would be like if we did that. So that's what I'd expect.
Very nice. Very nice. My friend Christy, she's on there saying hello. Christy's a constant supporter of the Really Charlie podcast.
That's a great profile picture.
Yes. Yes. And Christy, I highly recommend that you buy this book on Amazon. All is not lost. So if you have time, please do it. And actually give a review of my friend Laura and her book. Creativity is amazing. All right. Let's see. Now, your first book signing. Right. You're getting prepared. I already seen the video of you opening your box.
Yeah.
You have your first copies. And so now you're preparing for this book signing.
Yeah.
So nervous? Was you nervous, or was you expecting quite a bit of people? How were you feeling?
I didn't know what to expect. So it ended up that I'm from the Atlanta area, and my first book signing was actually hosted in Boston. And it was kind of a very nice thing to be coming home to Boston. From having spent some time there in college and living in the Massachusetts area at 2 different times in my life. So, and I lived in Connecticut as well. So it was nice. And I was amongst friends, and old friends and new friends. And so I was very nervous about getting the book, in my hands to be able to travel with it. And I wasn't nervous until the moment that it was almost about to begin. And then I thought, what if they hate it? So what if this is a disaster? And the group of people that I was with could not have been any kinder and more gracious. And they encouraged me by asking such great questions. And they were just smart, articulate, supportive people. And I felt so much love and energy in that room that night. It just gave me a confidence that I really hadn't had. And I'm so grateful that was my first book, event, because they couldn't have been any greater. And I really have enjoyed all the events, and I've gone to quite a few June to now over the last few months. I'm always intrigued by meeting new people. I get a lot of energy from it. And I have met some fascinating people who have just shared their own experiences with me. I've loved it, but I will always fondly remember that night, because I was pretty calm and cool and collected until like the doorbell started ringing and people started coming, and then I started panicking, like, what if this is a disaster? And they were just really, propped me up when I needed it. And I'm very grateful for that.
Awesome. I happened to come across one of your reviews. This is from Goodreads. And
Yes.
It says, this is from Cynthia Wasco, and she gives you 5 stars. This was as of July 22nd, 2023.
Yes.
It said, All Is Now Lost by Laura Elizabeth was a delightful read. Mongin Island sounds like a delightful place to live and visit. A beachy vibe with a southern hospitality and charm. The mystery, the mystery wrapped with a little local history kept me on my toes. Sorry, until the end. Amateur sleuth Carr Jepson is quick, inquisitive, and sleuth. Sleuth sense like no other. Sorry, it's very, very small. Also, runs the island. Let me do something real quick for me. And also, it says she also runs the island bookstore and tea shop. Books and Brew, perfect name. I can't wait for more stories from the island mysteries. The excuse me. Whoops. Can't can't cover your beautiful face. Gotta get that. Gotta get that back on the screen. Here we go. All right. The so that was pretty interesting. Um,
She
and
actually runs, Cynthia has a business where she does boxes, and she wanted to put All Is Now Lost in a box along with several other items that people can buy on Etsy. And I've signed all those as well. And they're all like gift boxes. And so she's come up, Cynthia liked the book so much that she wanted to make these boxes out of them. And it's a women-owned, minority-owned business that I really like to support, because it's just, she's doing a lot of good work, and she's just a really interesting person as well. And so I have really enjoyed that collaboration with Cynthia, but it all started from her reading the book and enjoying it and posting that review on Goodreads, and then on Amazon as well. So she's just a really cool lady.
yeah, it's definitely good job. As you know, in your book signing, and when I had mine, there was always, well, there were many different comments. Some people have read the book. Some people are reading the book during the book signing. And being a, with poetry, it was a little bit easier. But they started reading, and said, "I love this poem. I like this. Oh my God, this is perfect." And so you must have been going through those throughout that week, And I don't know about during your book signing, but I like to read the back covers and introductions and all that. But did anyone come up to you and give you that mind blowing comment that just kind of set you up in the clouds and put you on cloud nine?
I do get a lot of those from people who have been to the island. And I mean, some of them have brought me actually to tears, because they'll describe what my feeling is like. And to know that other people feel it too is just great. Like, some people will, I've done a lot of events on the island, and I was fortunate that somebody who runs the Defusky rental group bought a large number of books and have given them out to people who have stayed in cottages on the island. And a lot of those people have reached out to me and said, like, this encapsulates my feeling of being on the island, or I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel it too. And people have called me and emailed, and I've met so many people that I would never have had access to. But some of the things are, the comments are feelings like, I say, when I go to the island still to this day, and the ferry rounds the bend and I know what's coming, I still get goosebumps going there, even though I've been there so many times.
Mm-hmm.
People will say, like, I get goosebumps too. And I just feel that connection. So that has just been the best thing for me. But the only one person that so far has told me that they've been able to know who was the the criminal. There's only been one person so far who has said that, and that has actually been mind-blowing, because I didn't think that so far people have not really been able to guess. They've had ideas, and some of them have even selected suspects that I didn't consider a suspect, but they consider a suspect, which has also been pretty interesting. But overall, the thing that's probably the most interesting to me is, because this is based on a real life, place, and there are things about some of the characters in there that are parallel to like maybe my own life or other people's lives. Like, I have 2 children. The main character has 2 children. There's a number of people who almost don't realize that it is completely fiction. Like, this didn't happen, and they'll be trying to figure it out like it did happen.
Yeah.
Like, well, it is fiction, thankfully. So it's not a real thing. So that's been actually the most interesting of all, is that people have felt that it's real, and that's kind of a neat thing.
Yeah, it is. I always said that every book and every movie has some kind of reality to it, and when you sit down and you write your manuscript and you're doing things, a lot of the visuals do come from the island, from your life,
Yeah.
that could give you that icebreaker, that where you or put you in a place where you need to be. All right, this is what I want to do, but where am I going to go with it? All right, let me go down to this location near the resort. This would be perfect for it, or something like that.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned about going around the bend in the ferry. When I approach Nantucket Island,
Oh,
every single time, and that's where my grandfather's from, my family. Um,
beautiful.
and so every time we come around and we're getting close, it puts me at a silent zone that I don't want to have a conversation about anything.
Nope.
I just want to kind of just inhale it and then exhale it when I touch ground, and just kind of just absorb all that. It does it to me every single time
Yep.
since I was 8 years old.
It's so true. It's like you know what's coming. You know what it's going to feel like when the boat bounces against the dock and they throw the ropes, and you know what's happening. It's so predictable, and yet it's brand new every single time, because it's like I look down and I'm like, I still get goosebumps. Like, I'm still so excited to go there every single time. I love it. I just love it.
Yes, perfect. The in your creativity. So your creativity is gonna produce this series up until its end, and produce many, many more. There's no doubt about it. Um, if anybody tells you to stop writing, including yourself, don't ever stop. This is, I think you have something that's gonna, in as a writer, as an author, excuse me, some authors and most authors don't get paid much,
Yeah.
but I want to tell you that you're leaving a legacy. You're leaving a legacy for many, many people to read and absorb. And you may have also, how do I want to say it? You have a um, you have an iconic book that's going to be attached to that island for a very, very long time.
Wow, that's
Uh,
really impactful to me. Thank you for saying that.
it I just want to tell you that later on in life, you're still a young lady, but as you go and kind of, 20 years from now, and you're back on the island, and you're doing different things, and you see your book there, or someone that really doesn't know you approaches you and say, "Hey, that's a good book right there," and you're gonna say, "I know, I know, I know."
Yeah.
You know,
It was funny. It was, I did a couple events on the island in September, and we were going back to Hilton Head, and I saw people like on the ferry reading the book, and that was wild to see. It was just like they had bought the book on the island and or at the event, or some I had recognized, but others just bought it from the different places on the island that it's available. And so I didn't meet them. And one lady, I said, like, do you want me to sign your book? And she's like, why would you sign my book? Book, so that was really fun. That was like a wild thing to look over and see my book in other people's hands that way. It's just it's still, even though it's what you may expect, it's still surprising and exciting, and just really humbling that somebody would spend their money and time on something that you've produced. So it's just really a great thing.
Yes, I agree. I just want to. My friend Christy asked for the name of the book.
Oh.
So Christy, the book is right here in the picture, right by my side. But I'm gonna put it up here. Here it is.
Yep, there it is. And that cover is the artist who did it is beautiful. It's just very, very striking and eye-catching. But he used a picture that my husband actually took. It's a real place on the island called the Avenue of Oaks. And so he used my husband's picture to actually make, the cover, which is kind of a nice thing too.
That is very nice. The the greatest thing is, like, for everyone that's joining us now, that Laura has different pieces on the website, and
Yeah.
they captivated me, and I kind of wrote about them,
Yeah.
and it's it helped me, because those things that I did write, I will use for a future book, that I write.
Mm-hmm.
And if with the images and all the different things, I'm going to actually let you know when it goes into a certain book, so you will know that I used it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So the someone's trying to get me to do a book signing in December. So yeah, so we're gonna do a collaboration, and so we're working on it now, and we'll see what happens. So
before you know it.
Yeah, definitely. It's easy when this particular person does all the work.
No, that's nice.
Easier for me. And I only say that because I know how she is. So she's probably not going to let me touch too many things.
Yeah, sometimes there's a lot of stuff. I mean, there are a lot of steps that go into a book, and people may not be aware of all that happens. But it's not just submitting your manuscript and hoping for the best. It's there's a lot of steps that go between then and the day you have books in hand. And I certainly didn't know it and needed to be educated on it. But it's there's just a ton of things to do and people to talk to, and things to coordinate, and it is a lot. It's there's a lot of things. So if you have somebody who knows what's happening and is good at it, I say let them do it. So.
Yeah, exactly. I just I want to get back to with your book, right? There was as I also was reading,
Yeah.
and I was trying to um, really like make an audible. I wanted to make an audible version of it, but through my voice. So I
Mm.
kept like I wanted to read out loud,
Mm.
and so I kept doing that, and it was something that I said, "Wow, this could be an audible book."
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you think about that, please do it, because um, I was really enjoying that. Listen, being able to read it and then hear my voice.
Yeah.
It was put in a narrative form. I mean, most of the time, sometimes like I'm reading all this stuff here, right? And it's in fine print. I can barely see it sometimes, so I try to make it bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss the comments on the right or anything like that.
Sure.
But there's a thing when I'm reading that I really have that book up and close, and just reading and nonstop and just it's I hope at some point you allow someone to make this an audible version.
Yeah. A lot of people have asked for it, actually.
Yeah.
That is definitely Kindle, an e-reader is very popular. The paperback's very popular. And then people ask, like, is it, in audible form? And I haven't yet done that, but I wouldn't be opposed to doing it. It's just finding the time to do it. But
Hmm.
I'd love to put voices to the characters.
Yeah. Sometimes you could send it out to as many people out there that will do it for
Yeah.
you at
Mm-hmm.
a very small fee. Anyone charging you a whole lot, just keep looking, because there's a lot of good readers out there, and narrators that do voiceovers for a
Mm-hmm.
very small amount, um, and they have great voices, but they're just getting started.
Yeah.
They may give you a figure that you say, are you serious?
Yeah.
And then well, you're actually putting them on the map.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You're putting them on the stage, so they'll say, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So, but Laura, I want to talk about something. I need your expertise with it, and
Okay.
so we're gonna go back to the questions, and let's see. As a reader, and we get
Mhm.
different recommendations of doing different things. And one of the things you suggested to me is virtual book club meetings, or in-person events.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I've been invited to several book club events, and some of them have been in person, and some of them have been virtual. And so they've been like Zoom meetings. The people have had the books. I have questions on my website for book clubs, but I don't want, if someone invites me to attend, I don't want it to just be, what they would already have access to on the website. I want to go like above and beyond for people who are inviting me into their home. So we'll start with those questions as warm-ups, but then I always leave time for people to ask me their own questions. And a lot of times they're about like the writing process or the book publishing process. There's a lot of things about that. There's also a decent amount of people who are interested in, the why behind this book. And
Hmm.
especially since my professional career is not in writing I haven't published anything before. And so people are fascinated by, that story. So they'll ask about stuff like that, but then I'll always try and find a couple of questions that are specific to the book or messages of the book just for conversational purposes. So I try and do more than just what people already have access to, just to make it, feel like it's special because the author is there with them. And If it's virtual, I'll usually send gifts to the people so that they have something signed by me but if they're in person, I'll sign their books with them. I love it. I love talking to readers. I love hearing how people consumed the book, what they related to. It's helpful to me too, just to hear, in real time what people's reactions are. So I love doing events like that. And we've said on my website, I do have a place for people to reach out if they would like for me to come to a virtual or a in-person event. And then we also have a brand ambassador program for people who host 2 events during a year. They have access to stuff that other people don't have access to. So really hoping to get the word out about the Island Mysteries brand so that we can continue talking to people in different areas as well about the book and about the Lowcountry and just about that process of leaning into a new thing in your life and starting again.
Good. That's it's nice. I did something similar to that, and it was in regards to Rigobert Menchu from Central America.
Okay.
And about the maize and how she was a revolutionary person in the area. And so that was the first one that I ever did, and read the book from cover to cover.
Yeah.
And I was so fascinated. But that book was so impressive to me that I'm using it now that I'm in the elementary schools, because a lot of our students are from that area. And and there's a few young kids that are named, they're not named after her, but they have the same name. And I said, "You have a famous name there." They said, "I do." So they say, "Mr. Perry, tell me about it." So the best thing, I try to tell them as much as I can.
Yeah.
So those virtual meetings, those virtual book clubs and critiques of different books are amazing and have a huge impact on some people because some of the things that you learn. So I highly recommend those. And,
yeah. It's funny. I went to an event in person recently, and there was a person there who shared with me. There's a component in All Is Now Lost that talks about the history on the island, and it's pre-Revolutionary War. When people hear about Southern literature, they often think we're talking about Civil War. And actually on this island, it dates back even before the Revolutionary War, like thousands of years ago. Native Americans were on the island, and then the British were on the island during the Revolutionary War. So that there is an actual component to that on Daufuskie, and there is that component in All Is Now Lost. So we were talking about writing about history, real history, in a fiction book. And she brought up the fact that her mother was the daughter. So basically her grandfather was somebody who was in the Nazi resistance in Germany. And have all of these stories about what it was like to be an outsider on the right side of history, but being considered, the enemy against public opinion, and what that cost. And so it was fascinating. I mean, it just truly was the story of a well-lived life this woman's mother had, and just how intelligent and articulate, and how she persevered through such horrific life, and all that she saw, and the worst of humanity, and still went on to live a productive and healthy and wonderful life. And so it's like the most inspirational story. But if I hadn't been at this event to talk about history in the context of a fictional story, I never would have met this woman, It was like such a gift, to run into somebody through this mutual conversation about, just this off-beaten topic. But it really is, books are the pathway to new experiences in life. And it's an easy way to educate in a consumable way about topics that are hard to talk about. So
I agree.
it's a gift to be able to give that to the students that you come in contact with, especially at the elementary school level, where they have their whole lives in front of them filled with things that, are waiting to be explored.
Yes, exactly. There's one kid, I won't say any names because, but I didn't know he was a reader until he was waiting for the bus, and that's too much information. He might know, so I don't want. I don't want.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I said, "What type of books do you like?"
Yeah.
He says, "Well, I like anything, but it has to have some pictures with it."
Oh, okay.
And I said, "Well, what do you mean, like real life images or drawings?" He said, "Anything." I said, "Okay." I said, "I can work with that." So I'm going to be looking for some different books for him. The amazing thing, he didn't know what Huck Finn was.
Oh.
So I think I'm going to surprise him with that. So, and he's from another country. So, and so I'm going to bring that to school very soon so I can give it to him. And so, but
it's funny. It's like in my education, I had a very classical literature education. I read a lot of the classics, especially in high school. I had a very heavy summer reading list filled with English and Russian literature, and some of them were, you would just slog through. It was, 20 books a summer or whatever. And I had a part-time job, and they were very nice to me. They would let me read my summer reading, if the store was slow. And so I have a lot of memories of sitting, reading these books that I would never under any circumstances read, but was able to talk about them in context and references as, I went through my life. And so, but when my children were in school, less and less were, books, classic literature were components of the curriculum. My son a little bit more because he did go to a private school, but, so I always it's terrible, but even on those rides from where we were living to the island, we would be listening to all the Shakespeare on, Audible books. We would be reading out loud from some of the classics. They read Jane Eyre, they read Wuthering Heights, they read things that they weren't exposed to in their school. And I felt like it just gives you a worldly perspective of what other people, like A Tree Grows in Brooklyn is a story about, what it was like at the turn of the 20th century to live in poverty, but still have a hopeful existence. And so I made them read those books.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, they want to play video games or what. And I'm like, you're a captive audience in this car for all these hours. So we're going to do these things on this way. But the gift is that you have the ability to have a broader perspective than, just reading the same genre of book that you might just comes easily to you to read.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes.
It's a good thing to kind of stretch that way.
I agree. I didn't realize up until last year that Mark Twain lived in Connecticut.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
in Hartford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this it's so many different things that I want to see now because of that. So I have nephews and nieces. Well, nephews and nieces in that area. So
yeah,
when I do go visit them, I want to kind of venture off and do a little kind of sightseeing and history, and only because I'm intrigued by it, his whole life and what he went through, and from the ups and downs, and amazing story. In fact, there's an author right there, Diane Langford James, and she just came out with her first book, which we're going to work on and get her on the Really Charlie podcast also.
Sure, definitely. Congratulations, Diane.
Yeah, so we can talk to her about that. So talk to me about those reading road trips. All right. So no radio, obviously, right? You was you reading also with your kids?
Oh,
like
yeah.
When you're in the car?
Yep. Yeah, I'd read to them. I read to my kids all the way through, from when they were infants all the way through middle school. And I probably would have continued if, homework and athletics weren't such a big part of the night. But when they were little, we would always they would pick a book and I would, read like a chapter of a book that we would read together. So they would read first and then I would read to them. And then, as they were fluent readers, they both read before they were in school. And they both really liked to read. And that was great, but they were able to read on their own. It wasn't that I was doing, but we would share books together. And it's just books are such a big part of our family. We even have a tradition on Christmas Eve in my house. My mom used to give us, my brother and I, each a Christmas ornament, on Christmas Eve. And I continued that tradition with my children, but I give them in addition to an ornament. And that ornament is usually from someplace that we've traveled to, or many of them are from Defusky because that's where we go. But I also give them each a book. And I still do this to this day, even though they're adults. But the book is something that they've either struggled with or overcome or celebrated during the year. And then I write them like a message about why this book is important and what growth we've seen in them during the year, and how proud I am to be their parent, and, how much I love them. And I have done that their whole life. So they have some of little books from when they were stories of Christmas or about being kind to other people, to teenage angst and all the drama of that, and now adult things that they, where my son moved to and where my daughter is in her profession, and things that they, that we want to celebrate or just acknowledge that maybe were difficult, but they've overcome. So we use books in a lot of different ways in our family. And some of it is to, just enjoy time together. Some of it is to commemorate something special that's happened. And that's kind of where, for me, All Is Now Lost has come in, is that the island is so impactful to our family. It is a celebration of our time together, the way we grew as a family, the way we bonded together. It's that place that allowed us to do that. So, we've used All Is Now Lost in another way. So books are just an important part of how we relate to each other and how we share together. And it's been something that's been all of our our life as a family. So I do take that with me when I go to do book events, because I enjoy meeting people who get more than just what's on the page out of, reading a book. It's like, do you feel it, in your heart? Does it bring an emotion to you? Are you brought to the place where the book is set? Those are the things I enjoy talking to readers about.
So who's most likely going to follow in your footsteps? Your son, your daughter?
No, I don't know. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Any given time, it could be either one. Who knows? Or none. So I don't know. So they definitely keep me on my toes for sure. So.
Well, maybe the hubby might write one.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
the photographer.
yeah,
So
hey,
yeah, and I've needed them all through this process because my daughter is a big help to. Oh, thank you, Diane. It is, my husband does the photography. My daughter's helping on social media. She's really done the website and the Instagram. My son is a huge cheerleader and a beta reader. And he loves the island like I love the island. So he's a good fact checker, and they're just all really supportive. And so I couldn't have done what I did without them.
awesome. That's a good family story.
Yeah.
So, and Diane, thank you. We will, you know, reading is a gift, and it is important and a blessing to, especially starting with the young, because it's part of them. Great job starting it with your family, and Charlie, thank you for all that I do. Diane, back at you. You're a very, very strong woman, very great advocate for your family and your friends and your community. So we can't wait to get you on here on the Really Charlie podcast. I do owe you a phone call, and I will get back to you soon. All right. So Laura, we pretty much at the end, but
Yeah.
I want you to kind of close this out, and then I'll let you go, and then I have some advertisement that I'm going to do. But I basically want you to kind of jump on that soapbox and view the island as you always do, and just give us, your inspiration about the island. I mean, you already did, but you can close any way you want. I'm just putting that out there, but I just need you to be creative like you are. And you're probably a poet and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Because, and I just love it. You inspired a lot of things in me, and just in a short period of time. So I want you to keep up the good work.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So I do really appreciate being on the show and talking to you. It's so easy and natural, and I appreciate the opportunity to share, the images of the island and the things that are in the book, which are, being protected by those trees that we see on that cover under the oaks, those big, strong oaks with deep, deep roots, and all the Spanish moss hanging down from those branches that kind of almost reach you, but not quite, but blow in that breeze, and that gentle, cool island breeze, crystal water of the Atlantic, right at your toes with that sand. The island is really just a special place filled with all kinds of magic, just beautiful scenery and peaceful water, and just being made whole and restored by the beauty that's around. That's what All Is Now Lost is about: finding yourself, beginning again, building your community. And so I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it and to dream about it. And every time I do, it just makes me happy. So you brought some joy to me tonight, and
Back at you.
That. Thank you. For our listeners, I want to remind them about being on Instagram. It's The Island Mysteries is my handle. My website is theislandmysteries.com, and our book promotion is running through November 7th. So one entry for a screenshot of Amazon and multiple entries for a purchase from Amazon. And I am giving away a free signed hardcover and an island gift. So love to share that with you, and love to interact with anyone who has questions or wants to talk about the book or just chat. So I welcome all of it.
Good. Awesome. We can do this again whenever you wish, whenever you want. There's just, no schedule when it comes to you. You need me to do something, we'll do it right away. And it's great that we have this access. that we can do it at any point, anytime. Feel free to say, hey, can we do something? And I would gladly do it. I'm gonna try to get connected with your Boston fan base, so
Awesome.
I can also continue to support you in that way with your friends. Um, this one, Daniel Cooper says, now that I have to get your book and read it, thank you both. Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's awesome. I love it. The so we are on YouTube, LinkedIn, also Facebook, and Twitch. Something I just added today to my Twitch channel. Needed some content, and Laura Elizabeth was the best content I could come up with, and definitely a favorite. This is I am very happy. So every day I will be. I mean, we keep connected once, twice a week. So, but every day I'm going to be able to read your book and go on that journey like you did, like you wrote. And I appreciate you so much for being a very creative person and bringing this out.
Thank you. Enjoyed it. Thank you, Charlie.
All right, Laura, I'm going to add some WNB1 radio announcements, and I will keep in touch with you. And once I'm done, I'll add that critique to Amazon, that review.
Thank you.
All right, my dear.
Okay, see you later.
Give the hubby a high five for all those fantastic pictures. And,
I will.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. God bless. All right, Laura Elizabeth, man, she's a good writer. You are not missing. I mean, you're missing out. If you don't buy this book, you are missing out. It's definitely something that will keep you quaint and definitely very, very in a relaxed mode. And as you kind of go on the journey on this island with these characters, they're amazing. Can't wait. But most of the guests that do come on here are very, very creative writers. And but I'm gonna put the book up one more time. All Is Now Lost by Laura Elizabeth. You can find it on Amazon, or you can go to the Island Mysteries, theislandmysteries.com, and check it out. That's her website, and I encourage everyone to go to the author's website. It's very good. A lot of their, so you can see that revenue, All right, so we have one announcement. Two announcements, rather. This is the Frequency Live, which is hosted by Berto Carter from WNB1 Radio. This is going to be his second show. He's been doing a lot of things. Let's see. So that's going to be airing, I think, this Sunday coming up. Just want to get the proper reads here. But Berto Carter will definitely, he was hosting the Wind Down podcast and did a great job with that podcast. Was definitely one of my favorites. So WNB1 Radio is excited to welcome the Frequency Live to our platform. We're excited for their first episode to air soon. Cheers to the host, Berto Carter, formerly of the Wind Down podcast show. We are looking forward to this great new concept. It's definitely going to be great. Berto has some great co-hosts that are going to be there with him. They can do some amazing things. And so I can't wait. We also are going to be honoring the U.S. veterans with the first Friday comedy show that's coming up November 17th. Let's see. Let me read and we are leaving one venue to the next. We are coming back home to New Bedford, Massachusetts. So, calling all veterans this month. WNB1 Radio is celebrating your service to our country. $15 a ticket for all veterans. This show promises to deliver the funny in a big way. So get your tickets now. That's First Friday Comedy Night. There's going to be an after party Friday, November 17th. Just come on and join us at Whaler Inn and Suites, 500 Hathaway Road in New Bedford, Massachusetts. The great comedy coming from Timmy Hall. And we got Miss McCrae, hosted by Mr. Kuze and Malik Washington. These definitely are great. They're funny people. There's clips on YouTube about both comedians, but they're very, very funny. Mr. Kuze is actually funny himself. So please come join us on WNB1 Radio. There's a number there. You can contact Steve. And if you want that hand-to-hand delivery of your ticket, Steve Eden Lopes will definitely get back, bring them to you. But you can also order them on the website, WNB1.com. All right. This is a great thing I like doing is these podcasts. And, we had some people in the comment section, like Diane Langford. Can't wait to have her on there. But if you want to come on the Really Charlie podcast, please get in touch with me at WNB1.com and send a message, and we will definitely get you on the podcast. This coming week, let's see, next week will be probably just R&B music. I'll be playing some R&B music. But in November, I'm going to be hosting and bringing on a lot of veterans and trying to get to hear their story for the month of November. Michaela Brito out of Taunton, Mass. She's definitely going to go. She was in the Marine Corps. She's a very, very special photographer doing some great things. So she will be coming on also. And a few other ones. All right. Well, everybody, I like to end my show with my favorite song by Peter Lionel Walker, who is now venturing on into a little acting career. And I can't wait to see him. So we will talk about that later on. That's probably a future podcast. The Sunshine Award, the Really Charlie Podcast Award winner, my very first, and he's doing amazing things. All right, y'all, take care. God bless. Love you.
It's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bumping through your broadcast. Grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bumping through your broadcast. Grab a chair, fill your glass.